temper expectations. I tweeted yesterday after that first drive with the touchdown, don't overreact. Because that's kind of the what Bears fans need to keep in mind after last night's game.
Not a surprise, Bears fans losing their minds. It happens every offseason, as you pointed to off the top. After the draft, they've won the offseason again. And then when there's a sliver of promise or a sliver of hope in the preseason, you get Bears fans saying Super Bowl. I saw Super Bowl on Bears Twitter more times than I could count last night. And a lot of that is sarcasm, obviously. But that first drive is what you want, right? He's 5 of 6, 97 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Caleb looked good. Who is he playing? A bunch of backups. I think he just looked in control, and that's something that was really lacking last year. And it does help when you have the pockets that Caleb Williams had last night. So that was something that was actually on in the house. I was able to watch that last night as I'm getting ready for the show and getting my voice prepared for a full week of shows. He had a nice, clean pocket. And there were several screen caps where 4 linemen are winning their battles against the defensive linemen. And Caleb's got time to stand up in the pocket and make these throws. So there's a lot of upside with this offense, as we know. And Caleb was an equal opportunity spreader last night. He wasn't keying on one guy. He was getting the ball everywhere. Multiple tight ends, Zacchaeus with the touchdown. So that's what you want. David Haugh, one of our teammates at 670 The Score. Here's what he wrote. That's what Chicago was waiting for. An excellent 92-yard opening drive that includes multiple completions and a terrific run from Zacchaeus, who's had a terrific camp. Caleb Williams looks sharp. That's fair. That's all fair. And then we start to see the memes. The Bears are up 28-0, and Ben Johnson's just still mad, right? Like a focused, a laser-sharpened coach. Everything positive from the preseason will be taken to the extreme. But that's how we roll in Chicago. That's what the Bears fans do.
But it's also like, that is what should have happened in this game against the 2s and 3s. Like, if Caleb had struggled at all, we would be so concerned. So people say, okay, well, yeah, look who he was going up against. But, like, what do you want him to do against those people? You want him to kind of shred the defense like he did in that first drive yesterday. He had all the time in the world, to your point. Braxton Jones looked really good at left tackle in those first 2 drives with all of the starters. So, like, as much as it's don't overreact, like, this is, I think, exactly what you wanted from Caleb, despite who he's playing. And Tyson Bagent, Sam, even looked really good. Like 13 of 22, 196 yards. Tyson Bagent looked sharp. Everyone looked locked in. Like all the little things that were missing last year under Matt Eberflus, those were all cleaned up. Even the, I think it was Drew Dahlman who had a penalty on the offensive line early on. That would have like derailed that entire drive last year, and that didn't do that this year. So there are a lot of positives, even though it is the preseason. And I mean, for the Bills fans, like, you got shut out by the Bears. Do you go ahead and say what we said about the Panthers? Like, okay, they're taking a step back, or is it just this is the preseason? Like, those are the two extremes, but I think you can take a lot away from Caleb. And just the fact that everyone was on the same page yesterday. I thought that was a very good thing. Ben Johnson also said that Caleb Williams looked as sharp as he has over the last, 3 days of camp leading up into this game. He's continuing to stack day after day of strong performances. So does that change your mind on the Bears win total? Does that change your mind on the, division price, anything like that in terms of how Chicago moves forward?
No. Not really. You're excited if you're a Bears fan, though. I'm not going to tell people not to be excited. I mean, look at these stats offensively. 530 yards, 357 in the air, 173 on the ground, 6.5 yards per play, 31 first downs, 82 plays, 38 points. It's hard for me to sit here and say, don't get excited. Because in Chicago, numbers like that, I don't want to say you've never seen them before, but in games that matter, you don't see numbers like that. So obviously translating it from backups in the preseason to against starters in the regular season is a much different monster. Spoiler alert, I don't think the Bears are going to move the ball like that against Minnesota week number 1, but this is a step in the right direction, of course, because you need that quarterback to experience nights like this. He has to find himself in the pocket. He has to find rhythm with his targets, and he has to believe in his coach. I don't think he had any belief last year. Now, he's never going to say that publicly, but do you think that Caleb Williams and his camp believed in Shane Waldron or Thomas Brown or Matt Eberflus? I never felt that from afar. I feel that now, and that's what the Bears need, no doubt.
I mean, body language-wise with Caleb Williams last year, that told you everything you needed to know about his belief in that coaching staff and everything last year. Already yesterday, I mean, body language when you have a game like Caleb did early on, I think that is certainly going to turn around. All right, countdown to kickoff. We're continuing that on here on Bet Sweats with the Chicago Bears. Kate Constable, Sam Panayotovich here on Bet Sweats. Sam, in terms of some bigger pictures or division-wise, like the win total you mentioned, no, it doesn't really change your mind. I don't think it should change your mind based on that game last night. Yes, it should give you excitement and optimism, but I still feel like I went through the schedule again this morning, and I counted 8 wins that I think are realistic for Chicago. Now, do they have a bad game and drop one of those? Yeah, maybe. Do they maybe overperform in 1 or 2 of those games and get to 9 wins, 10 wins on the season? I think that's a possibility. But based on the history of the Chicago Bears, I can't give them the benefit of the doubt quite yet and say, I'm going to go over their win total. They're going to reach 10 games this year. I need to see it a little bit more before I put my money on that type of stuff.
Sure. And the numbers are there. Joe has brought this up many times. I've piggybacked on the stat. Since they fired Lovey, they're 1-11 to the over on the regular season win total. That's crazy. And if you total up wins and losses since 2015, the Bears are right near the top in terms of team losses. So the success has not been there. That said, just because they haven't done it doesn't mean they can't do it. And I think you look at their line. Let's start there because everything starts with the offensive line. You know, Pro Football Focus says they're one of the top 5 lines in football. So if that shell and that protection is there, they can have success. I think I need to see Caleb Williams handle this in big games against big opponents. That's really my next step to gauge the Bears. And the market is still sort of bullish on Caleb to not be the statistical monster. MGM's passing number on Caleb Williams is only 22.5. That's not a quarterback who was taken number 1 in the draft a couple years ago. So I think he needs to, obviously that goes without being said, but I have concerns about a lot of things. Can they stay healthy?
We may have just lost Sam here. We'll work on getting him back.
Trenches. And then so top to bottom, power rating wise, in the NFL. Team FC North, this is going to be a walk by any stretch of the imagination.
Sam, you were breaking up a little there. Some glitches here, so I didn't catch everything you just said. But I want to say you said to win the NFC North. That's not quite the stretch of the imagination. My next point on the Bears is going to be just the price to win the North. Feels like it's too long compared to the Vikings. Vikings sitting around 325, Bears 550. The difference between those two is just that the Bears have been a little unproven, and yes, a new head coach, a rookie head coach, but we don't know what JJ McCarthy is for the Vikings as well. So if you're looking at the price from Minnesota to Chicago, I think those should be a little bit closer, and maybe the Bears should be maybe like 4-1, 425, something like that.
It is a very tough division from top to bottom. I mean, that's going to be, if the Bears don't have success, they will be hindered by the strength of their schedule, not only in the division, but across their entire schedule. But you have a Detroit team that is loaded with talent, a Packers team that always finds ways to win under LaFleur, and a Vikings team that defensively could be the best in the division and maybe the best in the conference. So if the Bears are going to get over the win total, if they're going to win this division, if they're going to make a playoff run, they will have done it in one of the deepest divisions in the NFL. And sometimes iron sharpens iron. And if that's what happens, if they can find success in this division, it will grow them immensely in terms of where they were supposed to be and where they could go.
I think if that happens to the Chicago Bears as well, Ben Johnson, who's the favorite right now for Coach of the Year, has a really good shot at winning Coach of the Year, plus 650 over at BetMGM. But if we think back to last year, Sam, who was the favorite to win Coach of the Year before the season started? Well, that was Matt Eberflus. And how did that end up for all of us? So I am not betting Ben Johnson Coach of the Year right now at this price. I would look for someone further down the board. But if this does all play out the way that Bears fans are hoping it does after last night's game, I think Johnson will be a part of the conversation. I won't have a ticket on him then, and maybe I'll miss out, but I'm willing to miss out based on that price and him being a first-year head coach with a unproven roster.
I look at Rome Odunze's numbers. If you're looking for a player to pay attention to, last year, remember, his receiving prop was 650.5. And this show had talked about going over. Well, the number is 200 yards higher this summer, 850.5. You look at his touchdown number, 5.5. That's it, 5.5. I think he could be a 1,000-yard guy this year and catch 8-9 touchdowns. The talent is just oozing. You could see it, and the players talk about it. I know he had a drop last night. Probably should have caught that ball. So be it. It doesn't derail me from thinking that he could be one of the most talented receivers in this division. I think 5.5 is disrespect on Odunze. As long as he stays on the field, I think he's a guy that flies over that number. And again, I think he's a 1,000-yard receiver this year. He is the most talented receiver on that team. I know we're already elevating Luther Burden over Rome Odunze in some circles, but Rome Odunze is the guy. If he has a big year, so will the Bears.